Hello everyone, we all know that this monstrosity of a house in Forgotten Hell exists, and that is Vlad's house. And if you don't know who Vlad is, it is the main vampire in the Vampires pack, and he got this house. This house is pretty much the main build of that whole pack, and it has some issues, like maybe it is lack of windows on the back side of house, like literally none. Maybe it is these two windows which are maybe a little bit too transparent for vampiric house. Maybe those are vines which are like literally lined around only the front of the house and nowhere else. Maybe it is that roof line which is literally see-through towards these terrace that we got in the back of the house, and out here we have a covered terrace. We should not get it open. And maybe it is just a little bit that it is a little bit outdated for now, and that it has some struggles which base game builds usually tend to have, like, empty desk with nothing to do, maybe the whole balcony with nothing to do, the whole huge deck with absolutely nothing to do out here but sit. Maybe it is just absolutely empty hallway with just one light, which is literally off-centered of anything. Maybe it is these bedrooms which are purple or bright, or maybe wooden bathroom or something like that. And maybe it is this wacky gallery wall, but I have some problems with the whole vampires builds just because they look weird. Like this line of fencing out here is not even finished. Like, what am I gonna tell you about? So lately, as one of my sims in my legacy challenge started dating Vlad, I was thinking that we might try and go and rebuild that house from scratch. And we are not gonna make it Days Game of Vampires, and I'm sorry for that, but that's a warning. So let us go right into the speed build and let us see what we have got out here instead of this whole house that you see right now on your screen. So with the whole Vlad house, I did not try and modify what we have out here with the existing house. I just deleted it completely. But I tried to keep some of maybe noticeable like parts of this house, noticeable like details, like the main tower that we used to have like in the very front of the house, like a big balcony in front, like not a balcony, but a porch. And I try to keep something like that. I've tried to keep it in the same style, or at least in similar one. But I did not want to limit myself with packs with this build, so of course this build is gonna contain millions of packs again. I don't know yet how many packs it does have, because yet again, I'm doing it again. I did not upload this whole build to the gallery before I have edited the video, and that is just because a couple of times when I was editing videos, I was noticing some slight parts of my builds being a little bit wrong and not how I intended them to be. And I was noticing that I might want to redo them, but I couldn't because I already have uploaded the house in the gallery. And sometimes it's like, I'm missing wallpaper somewhere in the room, or maybe something like maybe colored twice, like, having interior wallpaper somewhere on the exterior. That doesn't look nice, but that happens sometimes. But anyway, back to this build. So out here with these builds, it is not yet in the gallery, but it is gonna have a million of packs. Just because, as you might see already, I'm already using base game, I'm already using vampires, I'm already using university, and I'm already using life and death pack. And I've tried to use StrangerVille. Lucky you, I did not, because StrangerVille is not one of the likable packs, as I figured out. But StrangerVille has good windows and doors. I wanted to use windows and doors from StrangerVille, but they did not come in blacks and solid blacks. And I wanted Vlad's house to be black, solid black. And to be honest, later I was using StrangerVille windows, but in a different part of the house. You will see a little bit later. Like, it's not on the house, it's gonna be on landscaping part of the house, but anyway. But as for the windows, I was using base game out here, and I was using vampires, of course, because from the vampires we have that huge kind of like costly looking door, which is perfect to end for the entrance of Vlad's house. And Vlad used to have a door like that. Like, I'm not gonna decline him a door like that because he deserves to have that door that he used to have originally. But anyway, as for the house, it is the same kind of style that Vlad's house was originally. It is mainly the same shape, but I got rid of the diagonal part in the back because it looked a little bit wrong. And to be honest, I do not like the animals in this game. I really do not like them. I don't like using them. I don't like playing in them. I don't like looking at them. They look wacky. Like they are so disproportional that they are so uncomfortable for me to look at. So I'm not using the animals when I can. And sometimes I do just to place the doors or maybe just to add some sort of shape to the house, but I prefer not to. When I can, I am not using diagonals. And out here, I decided to eliminate that. So we don't have that diagonal back part of the house now, even though right now you're probably looking at me trying to make a tower at the back of the house. I decided to abandon that idea too because I wanted the tower to have a skirt, but when I'm trying to make like octagonal tower, it doesn't work. So no skirt, no tower out here. Nothing like that anymore. We are just gonna have the most boring rectangle and a rectangle yet again shape of a house. So that's what we are gonna have out here. I hope you will like that because I like this house quite a bit because I don't remember myself building a house like that in a long time already. So it is fun to build something like that. And it is fun maybe to try and kind of like break out from my comfort zone and try to build something that I usually don't build because as for me, I don't know. I don't know, but I like building houses which would be kind of cute to be in the area where I live, but the area where I live doesn't have a big variety of house, so I try to build like a family homes, and sometimes I like to build apartment buildings, maybe on the modern side apartment buildings, and that is just because, when I'm seeing quite a bit of different developers building different kinds of apartment buildings and seeing how the town where I'm living or how the town that I'm visiting quite often kind of changes with time. It is inspiring maybe to build something like that in The Sims, something similar, but some of the stuff that looks good in real life doesn't translate so well in The Sims. One of those parts is diagonals, of course. But anyway, as for this whole house, it was really nice to breach out of my comfort zone because I don't know if I've ever built like a Edwardian kind of styled house, and I think this is one of them because when I was trying to look for a reference picture. That was exactly what I was looking for on Pinterest, and that was exactly what I was getting out there to look at. So I, of course, was not copying like any exact kind of house, but I was taking quite a bit of references. And that is a really nice way. I'm thinking to try and maybe build something different that you'd not usually like to build. Because as for me, I not always build like the same kind of houses, but sometimes I do want to build something like different, like this time, because I not usually build these kind of houses, because these kind of houses, they have like their significant character and they are maybe not so suiting for modern gameplay. And sometimes, like, computer or a TV in this house already looks a little bit like something out of place. But in here, of course, we are gonna have that. Actually, in here, we are gonna have the whole robotics lab out here, and that is just because if you have not watched my legacy challenge, I have a sim out there, Genevieve. She's a werewolf, and also she is an engineer, and she was going to university and she was in the university forever. I'm playing right now on a short lifespan. I was starting on a normal lifespan, but then I figured that is a little bit too long because one generation takes like literally one whole real life year, and that is too long as for me. So when I switched to the short lifespan, Genevieve was already in the university. And as she was like literally halfway through university, I decided that I'm not gonna get rid of her university degree. I'm not gonna abandon that idea. We are gonna continue with the university and we are gonna finish that. So it ended up in the fact that by the time that she has finished university, she was already an adult, like a week into adulthood. And now she's my adult werewolf. She's been in university forever, and that I have just described for you why. But anyway, that is not the main part of the story. Main part of the story. Last episode, she started dating Vlad. So I figured that it's gonna be fun. Like, werewolves, they do hate vampires, and vampires do hate werewolves in this game. So I figured that maybe it is gonna be fun if I'm gonna set two entities who hate each other together. So that is why we have Genevieve, and that is why we have Vlad being a couple. And as Genevieve is an engineer, I decided she's not gonna abandon her engineering aspiration because, she spent literally half her life in university to do that. So she's not stupid enough to spend to waste that. Like it's gonna be literally like wasting her whole life, and we are not doing that. So we have decided that we are gonna bring her aspiration with her. So that is why out here in the attic of this whole house, she is gonna arrange her whole lab, her whole robotics workstation, where she is gonna be able to maybe make a lot of servos, maybe she's gonna be able to make a lot of bots, maybe she's gonna have like literally millions of bots, like a gardening bot, maybe she's gonna have a cleaning bot, or I don't know, whatever kind of bots we can get in this game. She's gonna get everything because she can. So I have figured that it is gonna be fun to set werewolf and vampire, like literally the lord of vampires, I might say out here, into one household. So that's what we are building this house for. And of course, as for the whole werewolf parts, the only thing that we have here for the werewolf is one room in the attic, and that is gonna be pretty small. You're gonna see later, like in the very end of this video. So you have 25 more minutes to brace yourself and to wait to see for that. I know what we are gonna have out there. And the most of the house is of course from Empire, but like Vlad doesn't consider his now girlfriend as his long-term girlfriend. Like she's literally gonna die in a couple of weeks in this game because we are playing on a short lifespan. Like she's gonna be elder in a week. And then like 3 days and she's gone. Like that's how this game is. So as for Vlad, it's literally nothing. Like because he was living here for generations. He was living here for years, for centuries already. Maybe for millennia, I don't know. He was living here for quite a long time, so he cannot dedicate more than one simple little room for her because, he loves himself a little bit more than anybody else and he doesn't want to give his precious space to anybody else out here in this house too. But to be honest, he gave her two whole rooms because one thing he gave her robotics workstation, the other thing he gave her the kitchen because if you have played with the vampires in The Sims 4, you should know that in the Vampires Pack, and especially in Vlad's house, the kitchen is completely covered in spider webs and stuff. Just because vampires in the sim they do not need to eat, like all the only thing they eat is plasma. So what they can do, they can drink plasma from sims, they can drink some plasma bags, or they can eat plasma fruits. So that is why, by the way, we do have a greenhouse out here because I was imagining that, Vlad is growing his own plasma fruit. Or maybe Genevieve does that for him because, she loves him. She really cares about him. She wants him to heal good all the time. And if you have played Sims long enough, you might remember how Vlad used to die all the often because, he was burning to death literally everywhere. Because I think that that was some sort of bug, and he just didn't drink plasma autonomously when you were not playing with him. And when vampire is thirsty, or maybe their energy is low, and they are in the sun, they are gonna die. And that's what usually happened to Vlad because he was just dying in the sun. So he was not able to take care of himself. I think that they have fixed that and they gave Vlad sun resistance so he doesn't die that easily anymore. But I'm imagining that in my head, Vlad is still that fragile kind of part, so he's able to die quite easily, but he's not gonna do that anymore here because Genevieve is taking care of him. She made him the whole greenhouse. It, of course, maybe she renovated his old greenhouse because it has some broken windows and stuff, like broken roof. Like it doesn't look so good, but it looks maybe a little better than it used to before. And now we are growing there a bunch of plasma fruits. And Genevieve does that because, she's kind of good in gardening because she used to be a scout, so she can do that. She's good at that and she's doing that pretty well. And she takes care of that. So that is why we have a greenhouse. That is my headcanon right now. So that's what we are gonna have out here. Of course, I have just thought about it and I did not think about it completely when I was building this house. Actually, when I was building this greenhouse, all I was thinking about is, oh, we have plasma trees, so we can plant them in the greenhouse. That's what I was thinking about. So, yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what I can say. But anyway, back to this build again. Right now, I'm kind of finishing landscaping. I'm already like sticking the light pieces everywhere around. But as for this whole house, I've tried to make it look like great, but at the same time a little bit like scary. Maybe this build would be good for Halloween. But anyway, like we're almost half a year from that time yet, so we are gonna do that. But anyway, as for this build, I decided that we are gonna have kind of a nice symmetry everywhere around Vlad's house. I'm kind of into symmetries in The Sims 4 because I find them exciting in this game because, it is fun when you're playing for a long time and your world keeps accumulating some graves, and that is fun. That is what I'm just thinking about that. So that is why I decided to stick around here some more graves out here to make it look a bit filled, because I don't have that many Sims dead in this world yet. So that is why we are gonna have like artificial graves and not real ones, but they still can be useful. Like they look nice and they give a creepy vibe that Vlad house absolutely lacked. Of course it didn't, because it was a ridiculous kind of build. But now it's gonna look creepy enough for me. It's gonna look good enough for me. So we have graves around here. Of course, all of the landscaping around the house is that. We have a fountain out there so that we can hang out there. Also, we have some of these like water fountains from vampires. They give this like greenish, creepy glow to the world around. So I thought that I like them out here. And as I have finished landscaping now, and as we have quite a bit of dead and broken things around the house, like keeping the house looking abandoned, but not too abandoned, because making it look too abandoned is gonna be a little bit suspicious. Like it's gonna maybe attract somebody who will want to explore, and we not want that. Like vampires living out here, we don't want to put people in danger. And now vampires and werewolves are living out here, so it's even more dangerous than it used to be before. But anyway, we are trying to keep the house tidy, but everything around it not so tidy. Like we did not care about it. Like we did not have all that much time to work on the outside. We are a vampire, we are gonna burn to death. But anyway, and now I'm going for the floor plan, and it is gonna like kind of like come together easily for you. It did not for me, because I had to cut like 20 minutes of this video sped up of me figuring out the whole floor plan, because I don't know, but I have struggled. I knew for sure that I wanted to have like an open space on the second floor, where we're gonna have like an indoor balcony to maybe a grand staircase, something like that. I knew that for sure, but I did not know how I'm gonna be able to figure it out, especially out here, since right now, as we not have the diagonal part of the house, Let's house is kind of on a smaller side right now, so it's not as huge and it's not as grand as it used to be. It's still big and beautiful, but it's not as grand as it used to be and right now. So I knew that I wanted to have an indoor balcony. I knew that I wanted to have at least one bedroom. Also, I knew that I want to have a robotics workstation. And that is it. That is all for all I knew. Then I thought that I want to kind of maintain the same kind of creepy basements, like dungeons, I might say, that we used to have in the original Vlad's house, and I did it here. Maybe I did it a little bit in a wacky way. You're gonna see like literally in a couple of minutes, because I have tried to make out there a maze so that it's not gonna be as easy to get to the Vlad like kind of secret hideout in this house that it used to. Right now it is gonna be kind of hard to do that, because we are kind of trying to hide. We are out trying maybe sometimes to hide even from our girlfriend, because our girlfriend is a werewolf and she's gonna rampage. She will want to kick us ass. I'm sorry to say that, but she will want to fight, and we don't want to fight with her, because she's gonna be upset when she will come down, and when she will figure that she hurt us. Like she's gonna be upset about it, and we don't want that to happen. So I figured that out here we might want to have a dungeon which Vlad would access quite easily, because Vlad can fly as a mist, as if I remember correctly, and that is literally like teleporting, but for vampires, like fun one, like a cult one. I like that. Out here, I decided to give Vlad this kind of maze, so Genevieve would not have as easy time to get to him. And I have figured that we might try and light it kind of like creepily, like it's not completely in the dark, but it's like barely lit with some candles, and it's gonna have some fancy flooring. It is gonna have some fancy bricks on the walls. Like it is gonna look like dungeon, but well maintained one, because that is spending some time up here. And in the very end of this dungeon, we do have a chamber where we are just gonna have a coffin. And in that coffin, Vlad is gonna relax. He's gonna be able to sleep, and that's my main plan for this dungeon. And of course, this dungeon is some sort of like a vampire appreciation area in this house, because that's what we have. And I also did stick out there a mirror. I know that it's a little bit silly, because vampires do not get reflected in mirrors in The Sims 4, but at the same time, like I did it for a silly reason, because I have imagined like Vlad waking up in his coffin, looking at the mirror and okay, I'm still vampire, I cannot see myself, I can go. So that is fine. That's what I was imagining. I know it's really silly, but in the same time it made me laugh. So maybe it did make you laugh too, but that's what I was thinking about. And now let us go to the main house itself. The main house itself is not gonna be like anything special. Like what we are gonna have is maybe some like fancy entryway where we're gonna have just the whole big room where we are gonna have maybe a couple of shelves, some seating area, like not the complete seating area, just like a stool and maybe some sort of a radiator. And I decided that I want to stick out here everywhere radiator. So like we are imagining that we still have like that old school heating. I don't think that it's actually too much of old school because it's kind of typical in some areas still. But anyway, we're gonna have some statues out here, like one in the area, and we are gonna have a big painting. I did that just because that's what we used to have in the original Vlad's house. Like we used to have like this huge grand entryway in the right from the entrance of the house. And I was a little upset that I did not manage to kind of figure out a way to figure floor plan here so that we were going to be able to do that with making the floor plan adequate because we still do need bedrooms, we still need normal rooms. So I have figured that we might want to have a fancy hallway. Then, right on the left from our entryway, we are gonna have a grand dining. In the great dining, we are gonna have like 8 stool sitting area. We are gonna have some paintings, a big carpet, radiators, of course, because we don't want to freeze to death out here. Also, out there, we are gonna have some shelves, some decor, so that it just looks fancy and nice. As for the kitchen, in the kitchen, I went all out because literally. As for the kitchen, I have decided that Vlad did not have a kitchen originally. Now he's gonna have one, and I'm imagining that maybe he did renovate his old one, so I did use a kitchen from a vampire spec. So we are gonna have a white kitchen out here. I don't remember myself making a lot of white kitchens in this game, but we do have it here. So we are gonna have a vampire's kitchen. We are gonna have those base game appliances which are kind of like old school looking, like that kind of like carbon steel fridge. We are gonna have that wood stove so that it all looks like old school, but it kind of looks a little bit more polished than it used to. And of course, we're gonna have out there like a tea and coffee nook because that's what I like to do in this game. And of course, I had to use out here quite a bit of kitchen clutter kit just because it is my first build since this kit did come out. So I had to. I had to. Don't come for me. I had to. And I really wanted to. So that is why I did it too. So I did use it here quite a bit of kitchen clutter kit so that we are imagining that Genevieve is actively using the kitchen. She's a werewolf. Werewolves do need to eat and like vampires, so we are doing that. Also in the kitchen we are gonna have a breakfast snack. And as for the kitchen, the whole look of the kitchen is gonna be a little bit more like a dungeony, I might say, because we still have brick walls, we still have stone floors, just because it is still an old house. The kitchen is slightly renovated, but it's not completely renovated. We have a story out here. And as for our tiny breakfast snack, right from here, right from the breakfast snack, we have a second exit from this house, which is to the same porch through which we can enter the house. That is just, I'm imagining it's like a convenience kind of entrance. I maybe should have stuck out there a staircase right to the earth level, to the ground level, so that I might imagine that we are maybe storing some wood out there so that we are bringing it through this entrance, but I did not do that because I already did all the exterior out here by this time. But also in the middle of the kitchen, I did make completely unfunctional island, and I have made it from a dining table. And I'm imagining that we are, and that is mainly because we did not have by this time enough space in this whole kitchen to stick an island. So that is why I decided to make like a non-functional one and make it look like it's functional. It's not functional, of course, but it looks like your Sims might use that and they might find it comfortable. And usually that is how it looks in the houses around my area. Quite a lot of people actually use dining tables as their kitchen islands. Like you can sometimes scoot it from the wall if it is like a breakfast nook table. Like a lot of people where I live do live in apartments, so we not have like separated dining areas and kitchen areas. It usually is combined, so you have like a kitchenette and a tiny little table like snack somewhere against the wall, so it's out of the way. But sometimes where maybe a celebration of sorts is coming, people are usually just removing the chairs from around the table and they're scooting the table to the middle of the kitchen so that it's a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more convenient to cook, so that we have a bit more of working area around our kitchen. That's how people where I live do it sometimes. So I imagine maybe they do it like out there like that too. Maybe that's an old dining table and they have decided to leave it out there permanently as an island. Like we can imagine. We can imagine. And as for our tiny little kind of like a hallway in the back of the kitchen, it is just like a transit way to get to the back exit from the house. That is like not a grand exit from the house, but that is like one of the main ones because out there, actually, I have decided to try and make a fun thing with the staircase in the back so that we have this like wrapped staircase around the balcony from the second floor balcony to the back porch. So it's a little bit more easier access to the backyard of the house. But to be honest, this house has a little bit too many entrances for my liking because in real life that would be really inconvenient to lock all of those doors up because we have like a front door, we have a side door from the kitchen, we have a back door which is accessible from the kitchen and a living area too. We have also another side door from a living area. And then we also do have a back door from the second floor. So it is 5 total doors to exit the house right on the outside. And also we do have one more balcony on the second floor. And we have like a huge terrace on the very top of the house. You did not see it yet, but you will. But we do have a terrace out there. Actually, you have seen some of stuff that I have figured to start that terrace, but you will see it a little bit later. And actually, about our whole living room, I did not try and make this whole living room like hold it functional. All we have out there is a fireplace, a bookshelf, a chess table, and also out there we do have a bar. And for the bar, I have just decided that vampire they can make some sort of like concoctions out there in the bar, so it is gonna be a little bit convenient for that to have. Like maybe you're a little bit tired to play with a vampire. Now you can cure them because you have a bar. That's what I was imagining. And also from that bar area, we have access to our back exit from the house. Out there, I have decided to make like a little transitional kind of library. This room doesn't have any windows, but out there we have 2 dressers, which are imagining like maybe for storing your winter coats or something like that. And out there we have several bookshelves and a bench, so you can sit out there and read out there. It's like the whole dark academia vibes in that room because also we do have some plants and dark wood colors, a lot of bookshelves and plants. It gives, as for me, it gives quite a bit of dark academia vibes. And as we have finished with the first floor, now we are slowly but surely going for the second floor. As for the second floor, first thing we're starting with is our grand staircase. Out there, I have decided to make 2 gallery walls because I don't know, but grand staircases, which are literally like 2 stories high, as for me, are perfect areas for gallery walls because that is where you would be able to see at least all of these paintings, at least when you're playing on the second floor, because usually I play with my walls like half up, half down, and I do not see any interior walls, so I don't see paintings. And that is a little bit annoying sometimes because I tend to spend quite a bit of time trying to furnish the house, including the walls, but I don't even see that. And out here, at least I will be able to see some part, and that is that like well part, which is from the first floor. So that's what I wanted to do out here. And as for the balcony that I was talking about, that we used to have originally in Vlad's house, out there I decided to make like kind of an improvised office area, like or maybe relax and work area out there. So in that balcony we do have a couch. Also we do have like some sort of, I don't know, vampire lore big book, which in the last build that I have made I imagine that was a recipe book. This time it is a vampire lore book because it is a different occasion for the build. We are able to switch the lore between the items between the builds. That's what we are doing. That's what my imagination is doing in this game at least. And we have an urn, and in that urn, I don't know. I actually did stick quite a bit of urns and graves out here. I might imagine that these old graves and urns are all Vlad's axes, and that is because he lived forever. He's kind of a popular guy for dating in The Sims 4, as at least that's what I'm seeing in some communities. So we can imagine that he dated quite a bit of people, and quite a bit of them had died because Vlad lived forever already. So yeah, that's what we have out here. Out here we do have several urns. Out here we have several grates and etc. So that's what we have. As for the bedroom that we have, bedroom is kind of generic. So in this bedroom we have like a little like letter table, like table to write letters, to read books out there. We have a tiny little bookshelf, like it's like a working nook out there, just to do some late night working stuff out there. Also we do have out there a dressing area and sleeping area. Bedroom is kind of generic. I did not try to imagine anything new, so bedroom is kind of usual, just simple. It's kind of simple, it's kind of nice, and it works. And on the other side of the house, the area that could have been a second bedroom, I have decided that I'm gonna make it like a lounge area. Like the first floor lounge area used to be like reception lounge area or something like that. Like out there we are gonna meet our guests. Out there we are gonna meet maybe somebody for a formal kind of meeting or something like that. Out there we can play chess and stuff. And on the second floor, we have a little bit less of a formal kind of lounge area because out here we have a fancy couch, out here we have some fancy statues, out here we have a games table where you can play cards or something like that. Also, out here we have our pipe piano, or however that is this thing is called in English. I completely don't know. I should have checked that, but I didn't. So anyway, we do have that favorite organ out here. So he is able to play it out there, and of course we do have a fireplace, no TV yet again. TV over the fireplace goes to trash from me now because I used to do that a lot. I still do that quite a bit, just because usually I like sticking fireplaces in the houses for my Sims, and if you have a fireplace, then all of your furniture is centered around that. And sticking TV up here is kind of sounds obvious, but TV too high, people are gonna come for me for that, but that's what I like to do sometimes. But I know, I understand TV is not that comfortable to watch out there, but I don't watch TV, so I don't care. And anyway, we also do have a bathroom out here in this house, of course, because I couldn't leave my Sims without a bathroom, and we actually have three. One on the first floor, another one on the second floor, and the last one is in the attic. And in the attic, we do have two more rooms. One of them is second flat rooms. In the second bedroom, I'm imagining that it's like an office room for Vlad. Out here, there, he is gonna have a desk with a computer, with a functional computer this time, like a not just diary, not just notebook or something like that. And out there, he is gonna have another coffin just to sleep, just to relax, another fireplace just to enjoy watching the fire, just like another fancy room for Vlad. And as for Genevieve's workstation room, out there we are gonna have quite a bit of trash, to be honest. Like, we are gonna imagine that this room was literally in trash, like in maybe a couple of days ago. But right now we kind of have tried to renovate that and try to make something of it, so that is why we have some boxes out there, some broken stuff in the corners, and the attic is gonna look like the attic, of course, because in the hallway I decided to stick some of the basement treasure kit stuff just so that it is a little bit more occupied, it is a little bit more fun to look at. And we do have a basement out here, but it's a dungeon, and basement stuff doesn't go so well in dungeons, but it does go kind of well in the attics, so that's what we're gonna have out here. And recently I have played in the first Sims games. I have figured out a lot of stuff from the base game treasure kit. Actually, is stuff that we used to have in the first Sims games. So it is a little bit more fun for me now. So I'm figuring like Vlad lived for so long, and he used to live like in the era of the first Sims game. And that is what I'm imagining out here yet again. Like, he didn't even get rid of some of the stuff that he used to have from that time. And that is just because, the time flies so fast for him right now, so that he doesn't even bother because, he lived for so long already. So anyway, that's what we are gonna have for this whole house. As for our whole like top floor terrace area, out there I decided not to stick anything tall, so it just doesn't take away from the whole look of the house, because if I would stick there something like, that huge telescope from the base game, that would look off. I decided I'm not gonna do that. But I have decided that I might decorate some of the balconies which are visible from the front of the house. Like, I'm gonna stick out there some formal plants. We are gonna have out there like a painting area, maybe a knitting area. Also, we might want to have out there like something like a bonsai tree, some plants which are like literally just decor plants. And as for the greenhouse, I have decided to keep it kind of formal too. So I think now it probably is a good time for me to go back into the game and show you what we have ended up with. So this is the whole house. It looks kind of dark and creepy at night, as I'm imagining it would look. That's at least what I was going for. This house does also look kind of great in the back of the house. So I'm really satisfied with the way this build turned out to be in the very end. Let me go to the daytime now. So what we have out here, we have a 3 stories facade. We have this like rooftop area out here. In the back, we have this grand stair with all of these like water fountains, with all of these fancy plants. So this house looks fancy itself, but the yard is a little bit off, of course. But we are vampires, so we're not maintaining the yard too much. This is our fancy greenhouse where all we are growing are plasma fruit trees. So that's all is plasma fruits. I did see it from debug, so it will need time to grow, but it still is here. Also here we have a sitting area and aquarium, so you can enjoy your fish out here. And on the everywhere around the house we have just some sitting areas. Of course we do have some lights, some graves, so it all looks very kind of very right from the top. We have a broken light out here. Out here we have like a couple of pathways wrapping around the house, so we can access this balcony, we can access these, like all of these areas, all through these pathways. So it's all kind of like nice and cozy. That's what I'm imagining. We have a fountain area out here with some sitting areas around here, with some kind of statues out here, so we can enjoy our night, enjoy our evening. It is not that visible, it's kind of like divided from the front of the house, so it's out there, it's not out here. And let us go now to the inside. So as you go up these stairs, you enter this kind of porch. Out here we do have some planters, so you can do some gardening. Out here we also do have this fountain, some more plants. If you go through this main door, you enter our front entryway. Out here we have a mirror to check that we are vampires still. Also out here we have a heater. Out here we have a burglar alarm, so you will not get burglars. Out here we also have a chair. I'm imagining just to put on our shoes, but maybe Vlad doesn't mind that. Out here we have a big kind of entryway. In here we have a statue. Through here we can access our staircase, also our living area and our dining area. In the dining area we have a formal, mostly formal dining area with some creepy kind of surroundings out here, with some creepy kind of decor out here. Through here we can access our kitchen. The kitchen is kind of big. The kitchen is functional because we still have this counter to cook on. Also, we do not have a kitchen alarm, but I find these things optional in my build sometimes. And out here we have a dishwasher, sink, also we have a fridge, stove, and that's all that we literally need. And of course a kettle, so that we can make some tea for us. We have a fancy painting, a breakfast nook out here, tiny little not functional island. And through here we can exit the house. That's where we keep our umbrellas too. And through this archway we can access the back side of our house. In here we have a tiny hallway with some storage out here. That's like, I'm imagining, maybe an old painting of Vlad, which Genevieve just accidentally did ruin during her werewolf rampaging. Through here we can access our first floor bathroom. Out here we just have a sink, a bathroom, and a shower, so that you can use that. And through this door, you can go through this door and enter the same living room that you could enter through the front of the house. Out here we do have a grand living room with a bar, also with some kind of like fancy storage out here with a bookshelf, a couple of lights, some heating up too. And also we do have out here this chess area, so that you can play chess and see who's coming. That's what I'm imagining out here. Through here you can exit the house. In here we have a painting nook, sitting nook, and you can go to our graveyard, our own fancy graveyard. And about this back room, out here we have a couple of dressers, some reading area, a secret door leading somewhere. Also we do have out here this tiny little bench, so that you can sit and read. We are gonna go now downstairs. So downstairs we have a basement. Through here you can go like that's everywhere around here, through the maze, and around, like you can build your road. Oh, we are hitting the wall, like it's nowhere else to go. But no, actually, you can go to this room because we have a door, and here we have another continuous maze, another door, another long and continuous maze out here. Out here we have a dark area just to get your prey a little scared, like it is a little bit more fun this way. And through here we can get to the area of another maze. Of course, it's not a maze. Your Sims will not get lost out here, but it will take them forever to get here. So it's only Vlad's area. It's only Vlad because he can teleport as a mist. So that's what we can do. Out here he has his own coffin, his like self-worshipping area and stuff like that, a mirror to check that he's still a vampire, like all that stuff, all this. And let us go back up. So out here from our main entryway, if you go up through this door, you enter our kind of like grand-ish staircase. Out here we have just a big staircase with the gallery wall everywhere around so that you can enjoy your view. And out here we have just a hallway with a tiny little sitting nook. Through here, through this door directly to the front, you can access the bathroom to the right, lounge area to the left, bedroom. So to the bathroom. Out here we have some just fancy appliances, some maybe outdated appliances. We have some blinds and just some mirrors so that we can see ourselves, so that we can check how we look, so that we can clean ourselves, maybe do some laundry if you want to. And through this side door, we can enter our bedroom. In here, we just of course have a bed, tiny little like dress up nook, and tiny little working nook. So I need to work late. I'm gonna work late. Like you can sleep out here. I'm not seeing you because we have this room divider. So that's what I was imagining out here. That's what we have out here. And also I decided to stick out here a couple of these like creepy paintings around the house. They do switch sometimes. Like sometimes this lady is gonna get really scary. And sometimes there is another painting where they just like lose their hats and stuff like that. So it's like changing from time to time paintings. They are fun sometimes to have, so that's what I decided to have out here. Out here in our lounge area, in our enjoy your time area, we have a little play nook out here where you can play some cards and stuff. Out here we also do have a tiny little like lounge area where I think I'm missing an armchair. So much better. Now we have an armchair out here. We have out here a couple of knights. We have out here our pipe organ so that we can play it here. Also, we do have here like a tea tray so we can make some tea, a bookshelf so we can read some books, and that's it. Through here and through bedroom 2, we can access this tiny little area out here where I'm imagining like we can see our axe, so we can see some vampire lore, and we can exit the house through our great balcony to our great stair. That's what I'm imagining out here. And let us go out here. So through this kind of hallway towards here, out here we have a secret bookshelf door. Through here you can go like up the stairs and to the attic. So in the attic we have a lot of trash, of course. I'm imagining that some of this trash is something that was moved out from here so that we can empty some space to stick a robotics workstation, but of course we were not able to move everything. So we have rustic bookshelf from Werewolves here, and through here we can have a door. We have a door through which we can access this Vlad secret room with another coffin with some working area. Also out here we have a fireplace and books so that we can just enjoy our time. Through here we can access our bathroom. Out here we have some more boxes. I doubt that this bathroom is functional because this gap is kind of small. Out here we have a bathroom, like some stuff to keep up with everything out here, and that's literally it. Like it's not much, but we have something. And through here we have one of the more fun rooms in this house, as I'm imagining, but it is like JD's room. We have a fire extinguisher just in case something catches on fire out here. We have a robotics workstation. Out here, I'm imagining it just like some old letters, old paintings. Out here are just some stuff Genevieve brought with herself to craft bots, to craft servos and stuff. And through here we have like kind of like a secret area, secret kind of access to this staircase. And of course, we have a work area because Genevieve works from home. She can afford to do that. We have some bookshelves out here, some trash, which is still lying around here because we did not clean up everything. And back to this tiny little hallway. Up here, we do have a staircase to the last floor, to the fourth floor. Out here, we have just one lamp and nothing else. And through here, we can access our outside terrace. That's what I'm imagining it is. Out here, we have a woohoo blanket. I just thought that it's gonna be fading out here. And here we have some stuff to do gardening, just in case you want to do gardening in outdoors. And out here we do have a telescope. I decided not to put out here a lot, so that it's not that distracting from the front of the house. So we not have out here a lot, but we have some stuff, and this stuff is fun. So that's literally it for the house. I think that it turned out kind of nicely. I really do like the way it lights up in the evening because it looks like kind of cold and maybe creepy if you look at it in this time of day. But in the same time, I think that on the inside it turned out to be a little cozy in some areas, and it's well lit, it looks nice, it looks cute. So I think that I'm should probably thank you for watching, but first of course I should stick this house in the gallery. I'm gonna call this Vladislav's new manor. So this house is built for Vlad and his robotic werewolf girlfriend, and she got only one room and a kitchen. What a shame, Vlad, what a shame. And Vlad didn't even remove his late ex-girlfriend's ashes from the office. So this house right now is on the gallery. I'm gonna put all of the info about this house in the description of this video. This house is quite a bit of facts. Like we are in a 4 pages area, so I'm sorry for that. But that's a huge build, so I'm not surprised about it. And it costs 330 simoleons. I think that Vlad should have this amount of money by default, but I'm maybe not so sure. But anyway, this house right now is on the gallery. My gallery name is gloverunt, just like my YouTube name, so you can find it out there. And I think that now I should probably thank you for watching. And if you like videos like that, you can subscribe to my channel. And I think that this should probably be a goodbye.